On March 14, 2025, President Trump took a drastic step. He invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. This law allows the president to deport citizens of enemy nations during times of war. Trump used this law to target 5 Venezuelan nationals. These individuals were identified as members of the Tren de Aragua gang. This gang, known as TDA, originated in a Venezuelan prison. It's linked to the mass exodus of Venezuelans. The Trump administration designated TDA as a foreign terrorist organization in February 2025. The administration claims the gang poses a significant threat to national security. They argue that TDA's presence in the U.S. constitutes an invasion. This terminology is crucial. It lays the groundwork for using the Alien Enemies Act. Critics argue that this move is a dangerous overreach of executive power. The U.S. is not officially at war with Venezuela. Therefore, they argue, the Alien Enemies Act doesn't apply. Furthermore, they say existing immigration laws are sufficient to handle the situation. They believe Trump is using this law to circumvent due process and demonize immigrants. The invocation of this rarely used law sparked immediate backlash. Legal challenges were swift, and public outcry was significant. This event highlights the ongoing tension in the U.S. regarding immigration, executive power, and national security. It raises important questions about the balance between keeping the country safe and upholding the rights of individuals, even those who are not citizens. The American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, and Democracy Forward immediately filed a lawsuit. They challenged the legality of Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act. Their main argument was simple: the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela. They argued that using the Alien Enemies Act against Venezuelan nationals is a misapplication of the law. On March 15, 2025, U.S. District Judge James E. Boasberg issued a temporary restraining order. This order halted the deportations. Judge Boasberg cited exigent circumstances in his decision. He recognized the need to maintain the status quo until a full hearing could occur. This was a significant victory for the ACLU and other critics of the Trump administration's actions. The Trump administration was quick to criticize the judge's order. They argued that halting a presidential action before its announcement would cripple executive functions. They maintain that the president has broad authority in matters of national security and immigration. They believe the courts should not interfere with these decisions. This legal battle is far from over. It represents a clash between two different views of presidential power. On one side is the Trump administration. They believe in a strong executive branch with broad authority. On the other side are civil liberties groups. They believe in a system of checks and balances where the courts can limit executive power. The Alien Enemies Act is a relic of a bygone era. Passed in 1798 during a time of war with France, it has rarely been used in modern times. Its most well-known use was during World War II. At that time, it was used to justify the internment of Japanese Americans. This dark chapter in American history serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked executive power. The act grants the president broad authority to detain, relocate, or deport immigrants during times of war. It allows the president to target individuals based solely on their country of origin, without any individualized assessment of their threat level. This raises serious concerns about due process and equal protection under the law. Critics of the act argue that it is outdated and unnecessary. They point to the fact that existing immigration laws provide ample authority to detain and deport individuals who pose a genuine threat to national security. They believe the Alien Enemies Act is a tool for discrimination and xenophobia, not a legitimate tool of law enforcement. The use of the Alien Enemies Act in the case of the Venezuelan nationals has reignited the debate about this controversial law. It has also raised broader questions about the balance between national security and individual rights in a time of increased global instability. The outcome of this case has far-reaching implications. It could set a precedent for future presidents to use the Alien Enemies Act as a tool to bypass due process and target immigrants. This is a deeply concerning prospect for civil liberties groups. They fear that such a precedent would erode fundamental rights and freedoms. The case also highlights the ongoing tension between the executive and judicial branches of government. The Trump administration's decision to invoke the Alien Enemies Act is seen by many as an attempt to assert executive power over immigration policy. The judge's decision to issue a restraining order is a check on that power, reaffirming the role of the courts in protecting individual rights. The public debate surrounding this case is likely to continue. It reflects the deep divisions in American society over immigration, national security, and the role of government. Ultimately, the courts will decide the fate of the Alien Enemies Act and its applicability in this case. However, the broader questions about immigration policy and executive power will remain at the forefront of American political discourse.